As I walked through the restaurant, something I saw stopped me in my tracks. Wait a minute, that's weird. That girl looks exactly like my girlfriend Stella. But it can't be, she's kissing some guy. Just at that second, the girl stopped kissing him and turned around. My heart almost stopped beating. It was Stella. Oh my God, you're cheating on me! Stella instantly looked guilty.
Robbie, what are you doing here?
You told me you were spending the evening with your friends, but instead you're kissing him?
It's not what you think.
Oh, this had better be good. Go on then, try and explain yourself.
It didn't mean anything. I'm sorry. You can forgive me, can't you?
Forgive you? Forgive you? Are you kidding me right now? I never want to see you again.
Please don't say that. I'm sorry. Really, I am.
You're a cheat and a liar, Stella. I can't believe I ever trusted you.
It was a mistake, Robbie. Please give me a second chance. I promise I'll never do anything like this again.
You make me sick. I wouldn't date you again if you were the last girl on earth. You were welcome to her, mate. I stormed out of the restaurant without a backward glance. I could hear Stella calling my name, but I just ignored her. But before I go on, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Then I guarantee you will get your perfect partner too. I was so sad after Stella and I broke up. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to see my friends. In fact, all I did was lock myself in my room and cry. My mom tried to get me to go out, but I wouldn't listen to her.
Come on, Robbie. You need to go out with your friends. I'm sure you will meet the perfect girl for you soon enough.
I'm telling you, Mom, the perfect girl isn't out there. As the days went by, I began to think more and more about what I had said to my mom. It was true, there was no perfect girl out there. That's when I came up with my idea. I don't know why I'd never thought of it before. I decided that I would make my own perfect girlfriend. I knew it wouldn't be that difficult for me after all. I am a scientific engineer. But it still took me quite a long time to get everything right. It took me about 2 hours just to decide what color hair she should have. I mean, of course I like blondes, but brunettes are cute too. She had to be tall, but not too tall. Slim, but still have some curves. I hadn't realized just how difficult designing the perfect girlfriend would be. But eventually, she was finished and she looked completely realistic. No one will think that you're a robot. You look just like any normal girl. I'm going to call you Ava, like from the movie Ex Machina.
Ava. Ava. Yes, I like my name.
Well, so you should. It's a beautiful name, just like you.
Oh, Robbie, you're so cute.
The next thing I had to do was introduce her to all my friends. I'd been invited to a birthday party, and I knew that would be the perfect time for her to meet everyone. When I walked into the party with Ava, everyone stopped and stared. Hi, this is Ava, my new girlfriend.
Hi, Ava. I'm Jenny. Gosh, your hair is so nice. Which salon do you go to?
Oh, thanks. I'm not sure. You know, one of the ones in town.
Jenny was about to ask Ava more, but luckily Donna came over and introduced herself.
Hi, I'm Donna. You're so pretty. I love your dress. Thank you. You look lovely too.
I was really pleased with the way Ava had handled chatting to the girls. I could tell that they had no clue she wasn't a real girl. Ava's motherboard was working excellently. All the girls loved Ava, and the guys thought she was pretty cute too.
Hey, Robbie, you lucky man. Where did you meet her?
Oh, I just kind of bumped into her at work.
Are there any more like her hanging around there?
I was really happy that everyone loved Ava. I'd been a bit nervous in case any of my friends realized she was a robot. But Ava acted exactly like a human. No one suspected a thing. But the next thing I had to do was introduce her to my parents. I knew that wouldn't be so easy. My mom always scrutinized any girl I brought home. She would definitely be asking Ava a lot of questions, so we needed to get our story straight. Before I took Ava home, I told her every last detail of our supposed first meeting, right down to what clothes we were both wearing and what exactly was said. It's a good thing I did because when my parents met Ava, my mom started in on her immediately.
So, how long have you known Robbie?
About 2 weeks.
Where did you meet? Oh, I was walking along the street close to where Robbie works, and we just kind of bumped into each other.
Ava looked across at me and smiled.
That was the best day of my life.
I smiled back at her and nodded. I couldn't believe she was handling Mom's questions so well.
So, if the day was so special, you must remember what you were wearing.
Okay, Mom, give Ava a chance, can't you? She's not under interrogation.
not interrogating her, Robbie. I'm just trying to get to know her.
I could tell that my parents were a bit suspicious of her, and when I overheard them chatting in the kitchen, I knew for sure.
I'm not sure about that girl. There's something not quite right about her.
What do you mean?
I can't put my finger on it. Call it a mother's instinct, I don't know. But something is going on.
Just give the girl a chance. She's probably just a bit nervous about meeting us.
Okay, I will.
My parents came back to the lounge.
Come on, dinner is ready. I hope you like spaghetti bolognese, Ava.
Yes, I love it, thank you.
We sat down at the table and began to eat, but what happened next nearly ruined everything. My dad was reaching across the table to get the pepper shaker when all of a sudden he knocked a glass of water all over Ava. Sparks started flying out of Ava. She'd short-circuited. I watched in dismay as she fainted and her head fell face first into her plate of spaghetti. My mom started screaming and my dad jumped up. It's okay, leave her to me, she'll be fine.
She's not okay. Look at her.
She's probably just tired.
But what about all those sparks? What was all that about?
What sparks? I didn't see any sparks. You must have misseen.
Robbie, this is no time to mess around. We need to take Ava to the hospital.
No way.
But there might be something seriously wrong with her. She needs to see a doctor.
I'm telling you, she's just tired. She'll be fine after a good night's sleep.
Robbie, you can see that she's not fine. What's going on here?
There's nothing going on.
I am not going to ask you again. I demand an explanation.
I could see by my mom's face that she wasn't going to let it go. So even though I didn't want to, I told them all about Ava. As my story began to unfold, my parents' faces started to look more and more shocked.
Robbie, why would you do such a thing?
Because I wanted the perfect girlfriend.
But there are lots of nice girls. You just have to get out there and try and meet one.
But real girls just lie and cheat.
Not all girls. Somewhere out there is the perfect girl for you.
But I have the perfect girl. I have Ava.
But she isn't real.
Well, she is to me. My parents went on and on at me, trying to convince me that I should meet a real girl, but I didn't listen to them. I don't care what you two say. Ava is my girlfriend. You might not like it, but you're just going to have to accept it. Eventually, they came round to my way of thinking.
Okay, Robbie. If it's what you really want, then we will accept it.
It is what I want, and you two have to promise you won't tell anyone that she's a robot, okay? My parents sighed, but both of them agreed.
Okay, we promise.
I picked Ava up and carried her to my room. It took me a good few hours to repair her, but eventually, she was looking perfect again. For a while after that, everything was normal. Ava was the perfect girlfriend. All of my friends were jealous of my relationship.
I wish I could find a girlfriend like Ava. She's so funny, she's cute. I'd even go as far to say she is perfect.
I know, right? And she chose me. How lucky am I? But little did I know that my luck was about to run out. It was about a week later. We had been invited over to my friend's house for a party. But when we arrived, I got the shock of my life. It was a pool party. I started to feel really worried. I mean, you would too, wouldn't you? Ava in a swimming pool was not going to be a good combination. I tried to keep Ava away from the pool as much as I could, but all the girls were trying to get her to go in.
Come on, Ava, come and join us. Yeah, it's so warm in here. What are you waiting for?
Oh, sorry, we didn't know it was a pool party. Ava doesn't have a swimsuit.
That's okay. I have a spare with me. You can borrow that, Ava.
Maybe later. We're just gonna grab a drink first. I pulled Ava away from the pool. You wait here, I'm gonna get us some drinks.
Okay, Robbie.
I had just started pouring Coke into a glass when I heard something that made my blood turn cold. It was Ava screaming. I ran outside, but I was too late. A couple of guys had picked Ava up and thrown her into the pool. I stood there and watched as sparks shot out of Ava's body. The girl started screaming as Ava short-circuited and died.
Oh my God, what's happening to Ava?
Quick, someone help her! Get her out of the pool! Wait, what's that? I can see something sticking out of her body.
What is it?
I don't know. It kind of looks like a wire.
Oh God, don't tell me Ava
Is a what? I think Ava might be a robot.
The blood literally drained from my face. I felt like my whole world had just come crashing down.
Robbie, is that true? Is Ava a robot? Did you make your own girlfriend?
Everyone stopped what they were doing and just stared at me. Some of them looked at me with pity while others were trying not to laugh. But I didn't care what they thought. All I was bothered about was saving Ava. I jumped into the pool and pulled Ava out.
Don't tell me you're gonna try fix her. We all know she's a robot now.
Get out of my way.
You're crazy. Why don't you find yourself a real girlfriend?
What, so they can just cheat on me like Stella did?
Not every girl is a cheat, Robbie. You'll find someone nice one day.
I already have someone nice. I have Ava, and she's perfect.
But she's not real.
She's real to me. I picked Ava up and left the party. When I got home, I went straight to my room and started working on her. The first thing I managed to repair was her voice box, as she lay there with her chest open, wires sticking out everywhere. She opened her eyes and began to speak to me.
Sweetie, I'm not a real person. You need to stop trying to create a perfect girlfriend.
I'm not going to give up on you, Ava. You don't need to worry. I will make you perfect again.
Robbie, listen to me. I know you can make me perfect again, but I'm not perfect for you.
You are. You are everything that I need.
No, I'm not. You need a real girl, a human girl. Someone that you can love and will love you back. Someone you can enjoy your life with, without worrying every time you go near water.
But no real girl will ever come close to you. You are the girl of my dreams.
Robbie, nobody is perfect. You do know that perfection doesn't exist, don't you?
But Ava, I love you.
And I love you too, but I'm afraid I'm gonna shut down soon. Goodbye.
Ava closed her eyes and her body shut down. No, Ava, don't go! But Ava had gone. As I sat there trying not to cry, I began to think about Ava's last words to me. I suppose Ava is right. Maybe it is time that I went out into the world and look for a real girlfriend. But it's gonna be hard. Mom, I want more cake.
Sure, honey.
More.
Okay. Here you go, honey.
I want a burger too.
Okay, dear.
Pizza, now!
Yes, honey.
I was a really fat kid, and I had no limits. I sort of looked like Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants, and what made it worse was that was actually my real name. None of this bothered me much when I was little because there's not much peer pressure when you're that young. Of course, I got teased a bit at school, but that didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was that there was cake at home and ice cream. So who cared if Karen Jr. thought I was taking up too much space? But that began to change through middle school. Middle school kids are worse, and I began to feel self-conscious. I started looking at myself in the mirror and I felt very uncomfortable. Was that really me? I was bigger than a small dinosaur. I became sad and shy, because kids do experience these feelings sometimes, you know? My parents started to get worried about me, so my mom sat me down to have a talk one night.
What's wrong with you, my adorable, cuddly teddy bear darling boy?
I don't want to be cuddly or a bear. I'm a boy. I'm so fat, Mommy. The kids tease me and the girls don't like me.
Girls? Why are you thinking about girls at your age?
I'm 12, Mom. All my friends have crushes now, but none of my crushes will talk to me. It's because I'm fat, isn't it?
No, something is wrong with them.
Something is wrong with me, I whined.
Okay, fine, son. If you're so uncomfortable, we can do something to change that. You're going to have to change your diet, and you'll have to start exercising regularly.
No!
If you want to change, you have to work hard. That's the only way.
She shrugged and left the room. I sat there all alone looking at my belly rolls and feeling like a whale. I decided then and there that this type of life was coming to an end. I had my mom donate all our junk food to the less fortunate. Then we went to the supermarket and bought healthy stuff. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, that sort of stuff. It was really hard to adjust to the change at first because it's hard to happily munch on carrots when you're used to cookies being a food group. My mom bought me some gym equipment too because I was too shy to go to the gym. For months, I ate no junk food and I worked out twice a day. I became a total hottie, but I only realized the huge change at a family Thanksgiving dinner. My aunts and uncles and all their children flew over to spend the evening with us at our house. My grandparents were there too, and every time someone opened the door, their reaction was different.
Is this Patrick's friend? He's so cute.
Oh my gosh, Patrick, what happened to you?
Who are you, and what have you done with my grandson?
At dinner, I was the main topic. Everyone kept telling me how handsome I looked and how proud of me they were. It was one of the best feelings I had ever experienced, but it also made me dependent on constant reassurance from people about how good I looked. So anyway, years passed and it was finally time for high school. I was still gorgeous, by the way, but even more so. I had muscles, a six-pack, the whole shazam. I asked my parents if I could go to a high school outside of our town where less people knew me. I wanted a fresh start, away from anyone who knew what I looked like in the past. They agreed, and before I knew it, I was a high school celebrity. I became a total chick magnet in no time. It wasn't hard to make friends at all. I joined the football team to seem even cooler, and because I was so fit now, I made a really great player. When I played, all the cheerleaders would drool over me, even those who were in relationships. My football friends introduced me to some of the most popular girls at our school. The prettiest one was Jenny, but she already had a boyfriend. Her best friend Sandra seemed like she was really into me though, so we started going out. She was my first girlfriend, and the girl who taught me all about dating. I tried my best to be a good boyfriend. We hung out after school and went to the movies almost every weekend. What I loved most about her was that she was constantly telling me how good I looked. Then, one night while we were strolling home after the movie, she mentioned something which made my heart jump.
Hey, do you know that Jenny broke up with her boyfriend Chad? He was cheating on her. So awful.
What? That's good.
What's good about that?
Oh, nothing. When I got home, I decided to send a message to Jenny right away. I just pretended to be the caring, concerned friend, but what I really wanted was to find out if she'd consider going out with me. What? Don't judge me. She's the one I originally wanted anyway. Would you believe that she agreed to meet me after school the next day, even though she knew I was dating her friend? I suppose that's the advantage of being hot. You can get any girl you want. I told Sandra that I had an upset stomach and I couldn't hang out with her that day because I was going to bed. Then I met Jenny and took her to my favorite restaurant downtown. It was nothing fancy, just burgers and fries. But I regretted eating that later and I worked out for an extra hour. I was totally lost in Jenny's eyes, and I couldn't believe how beautiful she was. In no time, she agreed to be my girlfriend. I told her that I broke up with Sandra, but she shouldn't say anything to her because it would hurt her feelings. Sandra didn't suspect a thing. So I had 2 girlfriends, and they were best friends. Then my life took a more complicated turn that summer. My parents had been planning to tour around Europe for a while, and it looked like their plans were finally coming together. On my last day of school, my mom and dad handed me an itinerary with so much excitement in their eyes. You mean we're going to be gone for 2 whole months?
Yes, dear.
Awesome! I said goodbye to Sandra and Jenny the same night. I met Sandra a little earlier, then told her I had to run home to pack. But I really went to meet Jenny after, because I wanted to spend more time with her. Anyway, before I knew it, I was in France. I went to many different tourist attractions with my parents, but after a while I started to feel bored. I mean, if you're a teenager and you're like me, you probably don't enjoy spending every second with your parents. So after we were settled a bit, I started going out by myself. I enjoyed walking around just looking at everything. But one day I got a bit tired, so I decided to stop at a cozy little cafe. I ordered a cup of coffee and a cool-looking pastry. And as I was looking around for a seat, I saw the most beautiful girl I had ever seen in my life. I decided to take a chance and ask her if I could sit with her. Hey, is this seat taken?
No.
Oh, you speak English. That's great.
Yes, I do.
She had a cute little accent which I couldn't get over. She told me her name was Celine and that she lived nearby. I asked her if she'd go out with me on a date the next day and she agreed. She planned the date because it was her country. We went to a cute little garden, then I had a romantic little lunch. I enjoyed every moment, and I even kissed her goodbye when it was time for me to go back to my hotel. The next day, we went to the Louvre because she decided that I absolutely had to see it. While we were looking at some interesting art pieces, I held her hand and asked her if she'd be my girlfriend. She agreed, and we kissed again. What? I was in the city of love, so do you really think that Sandra and Jenny were on my mind? The next day she was busy, and I decided to go back to the Louvre by myself because there was something I wanted to check out. I was so caught up with Celine the day before that I felt like I missed something. What? I'm a jerk, but yeah, I do like art. Anyway, while I was staring into space, I felt a light tap on my shoulder. I turned around, and my jaw dropped. If I thought Jenny and Celine were beautiful, this girl was on a whole other level. Hi, I trembled.
You've been staring at this for a long time? What are you thinking?
I looked into her eyes, and I was so mesmerized that I couldn't speak.
Come with me. I'll take you to another museum. It's even cooler than this one.
I decided that she was too pretty to be a serial killer, so I followed her. She told me her name was Chloe and that she was from the south of France, but her parents sent her to a boarding school in England so she could learn English. She was on vacation for the summer just like me. I took her back to the hotel and introduced her to my parents. Then we all went for a fancy dinner together. I had so much fun with her that we exchanged numbers, and by the end of the week, yep, you guessed it, she was my girlfriend too. So now I had 4 girlfriends. I said goodbye to Celine and Chloe the night before my parents and I left for Spain. At different times, of course. They both cried, and I thought it was so cute. Anyway, in Spain, we stayed at my parents' friend's house near the sea, and they had a really hot daughter named Gabriella. To cut a long story short, she eventually became my girlfriend too. I just loved that thrill I got every time a new girl desired me. So the same thing happened in Portugal. Her name was Laura. And Germany. Her name was Mila. So I was up to 7 now. When I got back home, I sort of felt relieved. I didn't even tell Sandra and Jenny I was back. I just switched off my phone for 2 days so I could get a break. But when I turned it back on, it was time for business. I decided to meet Jenny first because I missed her the most. I told Sandra I was recovering from food poisoning caused by awful German sausages and went to Jenny's house. But when Jenny opened the door, my jaw dropped. Standing next to her was a girl who was 10 times prettier than she was.
This is my cousin, Carlene.
Hi, Carlene. I'm Patrick.
Patrick? Like the starfish? What a funny name.
I was in love. Later that night, I got a message from her saying that she got my number from Jenny's phone. She asked me if I'd meet her for lunch the next day, and I agreed. We met at a food court in the mall, and we had the most adorable conversation ever. Then I saw her wave to someone nearby.
Hey, my friend Desiree is coming to join us for a while. You don't mind, do you?
No. But when Desiree sat next to me, my eyes nearly fell out of my head. She was gorgeous. And I seriously couldn't concentrate because I was sitting with 2 beautiful women, and I was just confused. It seemed like Desiree was really into me too. And when Carlene got up to go to the bathroom, she asked me for my number. I texted them both every night for a while, and I'd meet them sometimes for romantic strolls wherever. Eventually, they both became my girlfriends. So yep, we were up to 9. I guess I became too confident because I became less careful when I snuck around. It was also hard to talk to all 9 of my girlfriends consistently. One night, while Desiree was sitting in my living room with a huge bowl of popcorn, and we were just about to make out, the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there was my German girlfriend. She jumped into my arms and started kissing me. Then Desiree came over and dumped the entire bowl of popcorn on her head. At that moment, Jenny and Carlene came over, and when they realized what was going on, they all started fighting with each other. I managed to separate the fight and get them to stop. But they were so upset with me that they all left and started posting horrible things about me on social media. Now, all my other girlfriends knew that I had been cheating on them, and people started making all kinds of funny memes about me. It was awful. The next day, I woke up with a headache and looked outside of my bedroom window. It seemed like a new family was moving in next door. I went downstairs to ask them if they needed help, and then I saw her holding a box with a twinkle in her eyes.
Hi, my name's Annie.
My heart melted, and very soon, I had my 10th girlfriend. What do you mean you have her in custody? I listened to the person on the other end of the line. But there must be an explanation. I'll be right there. I hung up the phone, grabbed the jacket for my suit and my briefcase, and walked out of my office. Yvonne, please hold my calls for the rest of the afternoon and shift my appointments, I told my secretary as I passed her desk. I jogged out of the building and jumped into my car. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that a mistake had been made and I needed to get to the bottom of it. Hi, my name is Mason. Have you liked this video and channel yet? If not, you are missing some amazing stories. After you've liked this video and subscribed, tap that notification bell so you'll never miss another story. I remember it like it was yesterday. I decided to leave work early and head to the park. I thought a bit of sunshine and fresh breeze would help with the migraine that rumbled in my head. With my legs stretched out, I placed my hand behind my head and leaned back. The weather was overcast and the breeze was cool. Suddenly, I felt someone trip over my legs and a small ouch made my eyes fly open. My eyes fell upon the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. I never believed in love at first sight, but then and there, I knew she was the one for me. I extended my hand. I'm so sorry, are you okay? She took it and I helped her onto the bench. I noticed that her knees were bruised. She stared at me.
I'll be okay, it's just a little bruise. I wasn't looking where I was going.
Your knees, do you need me to take you home or to the doctor to get that cleaned up?
I live just a block away, I'll be okay. Nothing a Band-Aid can't fix.
She smiled and walked away. Over the next few days, my mind ran back to the beauty I met in the park. Her ocean blue eyes and smile that could light up any dark place etched in my mind. I should have insisted on dropping her home, or at least getting her phone number or even her name. Do you think that would have been too much? One afternoon at the supermarket, guess who was walking towards me pushing a cart? It was her. I wasn't about to let this chance pass me up, so I approached her. "Hi, I don't know if you remember me." I rubbed my hand on the back of my neck nervously, hoping I wasn't making a fool of myself.
At the park, right? I still have bruises from the first time I met you. Not easy for a girl to forget.
She winked. I laughed. Making last impressions is what I do. My name is Mason.
I'm Eden.
We continued to shop together, and by the time we left the supermarket, we made a coffee date. We decided to meet at the coffee shop for our first date. I showed up with flowers and chocolates in hand. I looked around the shop, and Eden waved at me from a corner booth at the back. "Hi, these are for you." I handed over the gifts.
Mason, thank you. You didn't have to.
I know, but I wanted to. I smiled. "Have you ordered yet?"
No, I was waiting for you.
That was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Eden and I went on a few more dates before we decided to become a couple. Eden was loving, considerate, and it seemed as though she didn't get angry ever. She always looked for ways to bring a smile to everyone's face. She volunteered at the orphanage as well as the Salvation Army. She definitely was a gem to be treasured. "I'd like to meet your parents," I mentioned one day while we were having lunch at a restaurant. Eden looked at me worriedly.
My parents aren't the easiest people to get along with.
"I've been dealing with challenging people since I took over my father's company. I'll be okay." This explained why Eden never allowed me to meet her at home. Eden sighed heavily.
I'll see what I can do.
I didn't press the matter as I realized that the conversation made Eden uncomfortable. You see, Eden still lived with her parents. She wasn't allowed to move until she was married or at least engaged. About 2 weeks later, I pulled up to Eden's and she exited the house. I removed 2 bouquets and a bottle of whiskey from the passenger seat before landing a kiss on Eden. "This one's for you." I handed her a bouquet, which she accepted graciously. Eden looked nervous. I squeezed her hand. "It'll be okay." She nodded solemnly and we walked towards the house. As soon as we entered, she called out,
Mom? Dad? Mason's here.
A tall, slender woman with her hair pulled back in a tight bun emerged from a room and addressed Eden.
It's very unladylike to shout like that. Where are your manners, Eden?
Eden's face turned as red as a cherry. I stepped forward and extended my hand. "Good evening, ma'am. My name is Mason Pierre." Eden's mother ignored me and addressed Eden once more.
Go and get the table ready.
Eden shot me an apologetic look and ran off towards the kitchen, followed by her mother. The rest of the night didn't get any better. Mr. Jones, Eden's father, came out when the table was set and dinner was being served. He was a chubby, balding man with a mean expression plastered on his face.
So you brought home another one, huh?
Mr. Jones said as he cut into his steak.
Is he going to use you like that last one and then dump you to marry a model?
Well, you know, Eden has always been mediocre. A mediocre job with mediocre pay. She needs to take up her role in the company as vice president. I didn't do all of this work for my only daughter not to be a part of it. But Mom, I don't...
Mrs. Jones waved her off.
I know, you want to do something meaningful with your life. Blah, blah, blah.
That entire evening, it was Eden against her parents. By the time she walked me to the front door, her eyes were red, and I knew she was on the verge of breaking down in tears. Would you like to go for a drive to clear your head? Eden shook her head and forced a smile.
I'll be okay. I'll call you tomorrow, okay?
Before I could reply, she closed the door. I walked away from the house thinking about Eden and how to get her away from her parents. I knew exactly what I needed to do. The next weekend, I invited Eden to spend the weekend with my family and I. My younger sister, Judy, was coming home from college for the weekend. As we pulled up, Eden turned to me.
I hope they like the gifts I made.
I leaned over and kissed her. They will love it, and they'll also love you. Come on. Eden and I were barely out of the car when my parents and my sister bombarded us with welcoming hugs.
Welcome, Eden. We've heard so much about you.
Mom said as she steered Eden to the house.
She's really pretty.
Judy nudged me in the ribs and smiled.
I wonder why she's with you.
Ha ha ha, I said sarcastically before I shot Judy a smile. Once inside, Eden handed my family the quilts she'd made them. Everyone loved them. That afternoon, we played board games, ordered pizza, and Eden even made her famous banana bread. Everyone fell asleep, and I stole Eden away to the back porch swing. I kissed her. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, I am. Your family is amazing.
She lowered her eyes.
You're so lucky. I wish I had a family like this.
You can. I pulled out a small black velvet box from my pocket and knelt in front of Eden. Eden Jones, will you make me the happiest man alive? I know we haven't known each other for long, but will you marry me? She threw her arms around me with tears in her eyes.
Yes, I'll marry you.
My family tumbled out the back door.
She said yes. I'm so happy for you, Mason.
Mom hugged me, then Eden.
Finally, I'll have a big sister to confide in.
You did good, son. Eden, welcome to the family.
The next few weeks, Eden and I prepared for our wedding. I also gave her access to my credit and banking cards so she could get whatever she needed for the wedding. She also started a new company that focused on the education of orphan children. Of course, being a great fiancé, I invested to show my support. How much, you ask? I invested a sum of $50,000. I mean, why shouldn't I? Her business was going to help orphans get a better education. Everything was going great in our relationship. I even asked Eden to move in with me and she agreed. I was just happy to get her away from her awful parents. As I said, everything was going great until I got that phone call. You know, the phone call I got at the beginning of the story? When I got to the mall, I headed straight to the detention area. What's the meaning of this? My eyes glared at the security guard outside the door.
Sir, you need to calm down. Your girlfriend?
My fiancé.
Your girlfriend was caught trying to steal a $10,000 bracelet.
There has to be a mistake. I'd like to see her, now. The security opened the door and we entered.
Oh, Mason.
Eden hugged me and she burst into tears. Babe, what happened? Through her tears, Eden explained that a fire alarm went off in the store while she was trying on the bracelet. When she heard the alarm go off, just like the other people in the store, she ran to safety. I looked at the security guard who confirmed that the alarm did go off. You have the bracelet, why not just let her go?
Sir, it's out of my hands. The police are on their way.
If I paid for the bracelet, will this mess go away? The security guard got in contact with the store owner. He agreed that once I paid for the bracelet, that Eden is free to go. So that's what I did. About 2 weeks later, I told Eden that I was working late. Upon arrival, I noticed that all the lights were off. All the lights in my home were never off. I rushed towards the front door. It was unlocked. Eden? Eden! I called her name and flicked every light as I entered the rooms. When I flicked the light of the bedroom, there she was tied to a chair. I rushed over to her. Eden, baby, are you okay? My hands trembled as I loosened the knots. She looked dazed and started to mumble something, but I couldn't understand what it was. I called an ambulance and the police, and they arrived about 15 minutes later. The ambulance took Eden to the hospital, and I followed as soon as I was dismissed by the police. On the way to the hospital, I called my parents as well as Eden's parents to let them know what happened. The doctor told us that she was unconscious, and they would let us know when she was awake. My parents and I sat on one end of the waiting room, and Eden's sat on the other. After a few minutes of glaring at me from across the room, Mrs. Jones got up and approached me.
You need to send Eden home at once. Never has she been attacked at home. I want her home at once.
Mom stood up and stepped between Mrs. Jones and I.
You don't think Mason is responsible for this, do you?
This time, Mr. Jones answered.
Of course he is. A man is supposed to secure his home. Your son wasn't able to do that. He is not to be trusted with Eden.
Dad chimed in and stood next to Mom.
Maybe if you were a better father, she wouldn't have wanted to run away from you. Eden is grown up and allowed to make her own choices. You people are delusional.
The next few minutes resulted in a fierce back-and-forth argument between my parents and Eden's. It probably would have gone on forever if a nurse hadn't threatened to kick us out if they didn't stop. By the time we actually got to see Eden, it was 5 hours later. I wasn't surprised when she agreed with her parents that she should move back home, at least until we got married. It would take years before Eden broke free from her parents' manipulative ways. I promised to add more security cameras and change all the bolts on the doors. At least the wedding was still on. The day before the wedding, Eden and I decided to meet at the park, the place where it all began. I prepared a picnic lunch for the both of us, and we planned to meet at the park for 12:30. At 1 p.m., Eden still had not arrived, and I was worried. I called her phone, and it went straight to voicemail. At 1:30 p.m., I drove to her parents' home to see if they knew where she was. I knocked on the door and waited. I was surprised when a stranger opened the door. Hi, good afternoon. Is Eden in? The man looked at me strangely.
There isn't anyone here by that name.
Is Mr. or Mrs. Jones here? May I speak with them?
Sorry, no one lives here by that name.
The man closed the door in my face. Just then, my phone rang. It was Judy. She told me that her check for school was declined and asked if I could look into it. I hung up and wondered about Eden. At the bank, I was told that everything from my credit and debit cards were withdrawn. I asked them how that could be when I didn't authorize anything. They told me that it was taken out by a Miss Eden Jones. My heart stopped. Eden had been toying with me all this time. But that wasn't the least of it. When I got home, everything was gone. The neighbors knew we were getting married, so they assumed we were moving to another house. Eden stole everything. You'd think I'd be upset. The truth is, I'm still in love with Eden. She was actually the best girlfriend I've ever had. Eden, if you're watching, I just want you to know that I love you. I'm sure we can work things out. Please, babe, give me a call.